It began as a whisper, quiet, distant, almost too soft to notice, like the moment just before a thunderclap breaks across a silent night. In the stillness of deep space, where time itself feels frozen, and the stars hang like cold lanterns above a void too vast to comprehend, something moved, something ancient, something not us. More than 4 decades ago, humanity reached out into that void. A golden disk, etched with our greetings and dreams, hitched a ride aboard a small, fragile spacecraft, Voyager 2. In 1977, it launched from Earth, carrying not just instruments and engineering, but a message. We are here. We exist. We wonder. And then, for most people, Voyager 2 disappeared from the headlines. But it never stopped. It kept going, far past Neptune, past the farthest whispers of our sun's breath, and into the dark. The heliosphere, our star's final protective envelope, fell away behind it in 2018. Beyond that, silence. Cold, vast, and infinite silence. But in early 2025, that silence broke. It didn't break with noise, not the kind we're used to. It broke with a signal, a change, a motion. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory had been monitoring Voyager 2 like a proud parent watches a distant child through a telescope. But one day, something changed. The probe, whose course had been perfectly predictable for years, shifted. At first, it was slight, a wobble, a nearly imperceptible deviation from its eternal forward march. But it wasn't a drift. It was deliberate. Voyager 2 turned. The probe did not have the power left to maneuver. Its systems were minimal, running on power levels lower than a light bulb. No commands were sent from Earth. Its ancient thrusters remained dormant. And yet, it turned gently, like something had nudged it. The engineers froze. What could cause such a shift? Space, after all, is not a place of wind or tides. It is dead still. Unless something acts upon you, you do not move. Then came the data. A new stream of telemetry arrived, strange and disjointed at first, like an out-of-tune violin in a silent orchestra. Voyager's instruments, weathered but loyal, recorded something they had never recorded before. A spike, a sudden and violent surge in cosmic radiation. Particles slammed into the probe's sensors at energy levels far beyond what had been encountered in the interstellar medium. These were not the random background pulses of the universe. They were rhythmic. They were organized. Worse, Voyager 2's magnetometer picked up something impossible. A distortion. A twist in the local magnetic field that wasn't smooth or natural like the ones caused by pulsars or solar remnants. This was jagged, patterned, artificial. It pulsed in a strange, off-beat rhythm, like a heartbeat out of sync with the cosmos around it. Every 61.2 seconds, something out there throbbed, like a pulse, like a warning. Scientists tried not to panic. They double-checked for glitches, reran simulations, cross-referenced with Earth-based telescopes. But the evidence held firm. Something had brushed against Voyager 2, something invisible, something enormous. And it was reacting. The spacecraft's path away from this anomaly wasn't accidental. It was as if something told it to go. Not in words, not in force, but in presence. And Voyager, alone, ancient, and undeniably human, obeyed. To many at NASA, this was the nightmare they had never voiced aloud. Not because they feared aliens hiding in the dark, but because they feared being wrong, that humanity wasn't alone, that the cosmos wasn't indifferent, that someone or something had built a perimeter, not a border of stars or gravity or dust, but a line that was not to be crossed. And Voyager 2 had found it. For decades, the Fermi paradox loomed over our dreams of contact. If life is out there, why haven't we heard from it? Maybe we were listening wrong. Or maybe we weren't supposed to hear anything at all. Maybe we weren't invited. The pulse that Voyager intercepted, slow, rhythmic, almost alive, was unlike anything found in nature. Scientists compressed the frequency to make it audible. The result was a sound no one expected, a low, warbling hum. It wasn't music, it wasn't static, it was unsettling, haunting. Some said it felt like breathing. Others said it felt like we were being watched. And then, the question no one wanted to ask began to echo in closed-door meetings. What if our solar system wasn't just a random bubble in the universe? What if it was sealed? What if the barrier we thought marked the end of our sun's influence was never ours to cross? Voyager 2 may have broken through a cosmic quarantine, or worse, an ancient warning system. And as the probe slowly shifted course, like a child backing away from something unknowable in the dark, the pulse never stopped. Fainter now, but still there, repeating, listening. Its message was clear, even if its meaning was not. You are not alone. You were seen. You have touched what you should not have touched. No one knows what Voyager 2 touched. There are no images. Its cameras were shut down years ago to conserve power, but the data paints a stark portrait. A space devoid of matter. No dust, no gas. Not even background radiation gradients. Just a perfect absence. That's what chilled the scientists the most. The void wasn't natural, it was cleaned, as though something had swept the stars away. Back on Earth, the halls of science fell silent. Not the silence of ignorance, but of knowing too much. In rooms filled with the hum of servers and the blinking lights of deep space monitors, the pulse from Voyager 2 kept whispering through cables, tickling the edge of comprehension. Again and again, every 61.2 seconds, the hum repeated. No voice, no language, just that strange rhythmic beat, like the sound of an ancient heart pulsing through the void. And behind that pulse lay a message, one we were never meant to receive. NASA's analysts, joined by private contractors, AI research labs, and a growing number of military observers, began decoding the pulses in earnest. They layered them, stretched and compressed them, scanned them with quantum processors trained to detect patterns beyond human perception. What they found wasn't words. It wasn't a signal in any traditional sense. It was more like a boundary being described or defined. The pulses weren't uniform. Each one was slightly different, an almost imperceptible variation in amplitude and frequency. But when these were plotted across time, a strange fractal geometry began to appear, like the architectural blueprint of something vast, something constructed, not just a wall in space, but a structure, a shell around our solar system, elegant in its symmetry and terrifying in its scale. And Voyager 2 had tapped its surface. That realization, that our solar system may have been enclosed, encased, watched, sent shockwaves beyond the scientific community. Private messages from leading physicists leaked into dark corners of the internet. Whispers of interstellar quarantine, of artificial spatial engineering, of something older than civilization, perhaps older than life itself. The implications crushed breath from the room. What if we are not early explorers of the galaxy, but prisoners in a cosmic cradle? What if the stars we've yearned toward for centuries are distant lights behind a one-way mirror? And most hauntingly, what if our message was heard? The golden record that Voyager 2 carried, a time capsule of music, greetings in dozens of languages, even the heartbeat of a woman, was never meant to be a distress call. It was an invitation, a gift, a declaration of human innocence and wonder. But what if it was interpreted as a breach? As the telemetry kept streaming in, something else began to surface, an echo. The pulses Voyager 2 received began to bounce back in strange, altered forms. Not simply a reflection, but a kind of mimicry. The variations in frequency started to mirror Voyager's own signal pings. Modified, rearranged, but unmistakably responsive. as if something was learning our way of speaking. In the deepest hours of the night, scientists huddled around playback equipment, headphones on, staring at spectrograms and audio patterns that resembled something almost sentient. A breathing signal, one that didn't originate from any known astronomical phenomenon, and which, terrifyingly, did not begin until Voyager approached the anomaly, meaning it was dormant, waiting. When it came alive, it didn't announce itself with thunder or light. It simply existed and reacted. More simulations were run. What kind of force could change the course of a 46-year-old spacecraft still moving at over 55,000 kilometers per hour? It wasn't gravity. It wasn't a collision. It wasn't an error. The only conclusion that made any sense, if such a word still applied, was that Voyager 2 had encountered a field that was responsive, dynamic, and aware. Some called it a containment field. Others called it a curtain. But more chilling was the label whispered in classified briefings, a veil. And behind it, nothing. No starlight, no dust, no echoes. Just a profound engineered absence. This wasn't just a section of interstellar space cleared by chance or magnetism. This was surgical, intentional, and it defied every known law of astrophysics. The vacuum inside the anomaly wasn't just cold, it was sterile, cleansed, a void within the void. What sort of civilization could do that? And why? At the Pentagon and across equivalents in China, Russia, and the EU, the mood shifted from curiosity to calculation. Could this be a threat? Or worse, was it an ancient warning system? A trigger that humanity had unknowingly activated. Classified reports began to circulate with stark headlines. Contact imminent. Perimeter breach detected. Non-natural interstellar construct confirmed. No one wanted to say it, but behind every sleepless eye was the same fear. We knocked, and something knocked back. Still, the most disturbing part wasn't the signal. It wasn't even the field. It was the silence. Because despite everything Voyager 2 reported, despite the magnetism, the radiation spikes, the pulse, the stars beyond the anomaly remained eerily quiet. No transmissions, no communication, no signs of curiosity. As though the intelligence behind the boundary had already known we were here, and simply chose not to respond. Until now. Even as the probe drifted away, course slightly corrected, a retreat in slow motion, the pulse continued, fainter, further, but present. Like an eye that, once opened, does not blink again. And still, Earth spins beneath uncaring stars. Billions go about their lives unaware that 20 billion kilometers away, a machine older than most living humans just stumbled into something that could change everything. The question on every scientist's lips wasn't, "What have we found?" It was, "What have we woken up?" And perhaps more importantly, why was it sleeping in the first place? As Voyager 2 continued to drift through the endless dark, a strange calm settled over the mission control team. Not the relief of resolution, but the quiet that descends just before the weight of reality truly sets in. They had expected interstellar space to be quiet, empty of surprise. But what they had encountered was not just unexpected. It was unknowable. For decades, Voyager had been our eyes in the dark. Now, it had become something more. A messenger, bearing not answers, but questions too vast to hold. It had gone further than any human creation, crossed a threshold no one believed it could reach, and touched a silence that wasn't empty, but aware. In its wake, Voyager left behind more than telemetry. It left a feeling, a low, persistent hum of unease that refused to fade. Because now the silence felt different. It wasn't just space. It wasn't just absence. It felt like anticipation, like breath held in a moment, just before motion. NASA's deep space analysts, assisted by AI models enhanced with pattern-seeking algorithms, began detecting something new within the fading radiation stream. Subtleties buried in the pulses. Delicate modulations that didn't fit with any random natural background. Frequencies that aligned in cascading ratios. Mathematical elegance that didn't belong in chaos. They weren't just pulses. They were layered, composed. Like chords in a song played for an audience that had never heard music before. If this was a message, it wasn't made to be understood quickly. It was made to be noticed. To say, "You are seen." Whether that message was a welcome or a warning, no one could tell. But it wasn't silent anymore. And neither were the voices back on Earth. Whispers started to spread in the scientific community, first behind closed doors, then in hushed leaks and anonymous disclosures. The structure is deliberate. It's a shell. It's watching. Some believed Voyager had stumbled upon the edge of a Dyson-like construct, an energy-harvesting sphere or veil designed to mask or contain something vast beyond comprehension. Others believed it was a filter, one intended not just to prevent something from escaping, but to shield something within. United States, what if Earth, and our solar system with it, had never been alone in the dark, but under quarantine? The idea wasn't new in science fiction circles. The zoo hypothesis, the planetarium theory, that we were being observed or protected or hidden. But now those theories found footing not in speculation, but in raw data, because Voyager had passed through the one-way glass. And something had looked back. The probe's camera systems were long dead, but its other sensors painted a picture more haunting than any image. The space it touched was stripped, void of normal interstellar matter. No drifting dust, no background microwave radiation, no echo of the Big Bang's ancient glow. Just pure, engineered nothing. As if the universe had been edited. No scientist could explain it, but no one could deny it either. And so the story of Voyager 2, the quiet emissary born from vinyl and ambition, turned from scientific triumph into existential dread. We had reached out to the stars, and we had touched not promise, but perimeter. And the most terrifying possibility wasn't that something had responded, but that something had always been there, and simply decided now was the time to reveal itself. Because even now, months after the encounter, the pulse continues. Every 61.2 seconds, it ticks onward. Quieter now, as Voyager moves away, but still detectable. Still patient. The probe has altered course, not toward Earth, but away from that anomaly. Its angle of retreat is unmistakable, as though some unspoken command had been given. It isn't fear that drives the engineers anymore. It's reverence. A sense that we've trespassed upon something ancient, something vast, and something far more intelligent than ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, it let us go. The question left behind burns like a cold star in the minds of everyone watching. Why? Why would a civilization capable of shaping space, of hiding itself behind a magnetic veil, of reacting to our tiny mechanical whisper, why would it allow us to continue? Maybe it's mercy, maybe it's curiosity, or maybe it's strategy. What if the true danger wasn't that Voyager crossed a line, but that we now know where the line is? Humanity will not be able to resist. We'll go back. We'll build better probes. We'll send signals, dig deeper, launch missions designed to breach the veil with clearer eyes and sharper tools. We are, after all, explorers, and sometimes, without meaning to, we become intruders. Back on Earth, beneath a sky that hasn't changed in appearance, everything has changed in meaning. The stars above seem colder now, not empty, but watchful. The constellations feel less like stories and more like coordinates. Humanity has always wondered what was out there, but now the answer carries weight. We've been seen, we've been measured, and we've been spared, maybe. In mission control, the engineers still listen, they still wait, Every signal from Voyager is captured, stored, decoded, and examined with breathless care. No one dares turn away. Not now. Not after everything. That tiny machine, so far from home, it takes nearly a day for its voice to reach us, maybe the last thing we hear from the edge of everything. And even now, drifting alone through a void once thought empty, Voyager 2 continues to whisper back. A whisper that carries the hum of a pulse, the echo of a boundary, and the knowledge that the universe just got a lot more crowded and far more complicated. We thought we had found the edge of the map. But maybe we found a lock. And Voyager 2? It might have just jiggled the key. If you feel the weight of that discovery too, if you felt something shift when you heard this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, and let us know in the comments what you think Voyager 2 found out there. Thank you for listening, and whatever happens next, keep looking up.